Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This is going to be another Adrian recommendation. This one's called The Vampire Bat. Very cool looking poster. I wish I could say the same for this movie. Giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was kind of boring. Not that great. Dwight Frye is the reason to watch, although I've always liked Wray. Lionel Atwill is kind of good towards the end when he starts behaving like a maniac finally. And there's a bit of a plot twist towards the end. But it's a little slow. The build-up and the ending wasn't that great. The Vampire Bat is a 1993 U.S. pre-code horror film directed by Frank R. Strayer and starring Lionel Atwill, Frye, Melvyn Douglas, and Dwight Frye. There's some unintentional humor with Dwight Frye in this one. When the villagers of Cleanschloss start dying of blood loss, the town fathers suspect a resurgence of vampirism, but Police Inspector Carl Brettschneider remains skeptical. He's not superstitious like the rest of them. Scientist Dr. Otto von Niemann, who cares for the victims, visits a patient who was attacked by a bat, Martha Mueller, out of appreciation for her kindness. Martha is visited by a highly eccentric man named Herman Glebe, who claims he likes bats because they are soft like cat and nice. I like it when he pulls out a bat on that woman in the backyard. That was the highlight of the movie right there. All right, distributed by Majestic Pictures. Release date January 10th, 1933. Running time 63 minutes. Country United States and language English. So this is a public domain film. You can get it on Alpha Video or you can watch it on YouTube for free on Cult Cinema Classics. On the doctor's journey home, he meets Kringen, one of the townsfolk who claims to have been attacked by the vampire in the form of a bat, but withheld his story from the town in order not to spread fear. Dr. Van Niemann encourages Kringen to tell the townsfolk of his story. Kringen becomes suspicious that Glebe may be the vampire due to his obsession with bats. Glebe lives with bats and he collects them off the street. Dr. Van Niemann returns to his home, which also houses Brett Schneider's love, Ruth Burton, Ruth's hypochondriac aunt, Gussie Schnappman, and servants Emil Borst and Georgina. Fear of the vampire and suspicion of Glebe quickly spread around the town, and the people start fearing him. Miss Mueller is killed that night. The analysis of Dr. von Niemann and another doctor, Dr. Haupt, conclude that the death is the same as all of the previous deaths. Blood loss with 2 punctures in the neck caused by needle-sharp teeth. Glebe enters the examination, and upon seeing the dead body, he runs away screaming like a lunatic. Next morning, Glebe enters Dr. von Niemann's garden, where Dr. von Niemann, Brett Schneider, and Burton are discussing vampires inside the house. The town fathers enter the house, and they announce that Kringen is dead and Glebe is missing. An angry mob hunts down Glebe, and the mob chases him through the countryside and into a cave where he jumps to his death out of fear from the mob. Here's another cool movie ad from the Film Daily in 1932. Lots of nice artwork on Wikipedia today. That night, Dr. von Niemann is seen telepathically controlling Emil Borst as he picks up sleeping Georgina. Emil Borst takes her down to Dr. Van Niemann's laboratory, where a strange organism is seen. Then they drain her blood from her neck. So it's like a floating, pulsating beef brisket in a fish tank. Schnappman then discovers Georgina's body in her bed. Dr. von Niemann and Brett Schneider investigate, and they find Miss Muller's crucifix, which Glebe handed the night Dr. Van Niemann visited her. Brett Schneider is becoming more convinced of the presence of vampires in the village, as no other plausible explanations for the deaths can be found. As Glebe was seen in the garden that morning, the two conclude he is guilty. Upon hearing of Glebe's death, however, Brett Schneider's conviction is erased. Dr. Van Niemann tells Brett Schneider to go home and take sleeping pills, but Dr. von Niemann gives him poison instead, intent on draining his blood. Burton discovers Dr. Van Niemann telepathically controlling Borst, who is at Brett Schneider's house. It is revealed that Dr. von Niemann has created an artificial life form, and Dr. von Niemann is using the blood to feed his organism, his beef brisket pulsating in a fish tank. He ties Burton up and he gags her in the lab. So she's watching the pulsating beef brisket inside the fish tank. Borst supposedly enters with Brett Schneider's body on a trolley. Dr. von Niemann walks over to Borst, who is revealed to be Brett Schneider, who did not take the pills in costume, with the real Borst on the trolley. But Brett Schneider pulls a gun on Dr. von Niemann, and he walks over to untie Burton. Dr. von Niemann then wrestles Brett Schneider, who drops the gun. And that's pretty much the movie right there. Not a great film and not a terrible film, but it's easy to get us distracted watching this because it's really slow and boring at times. It's got a lot of great actors in it from other horror movies besides this one. I put all their names in the description. I think one of them was in Scared to Death. Frye, Wray, and Lionel Atwill had been in the successful film Dr. X. That is one of the great all-time gothic horror movies, Dr. X. It's probably in my top 20 movies of all time. They were in it the previous year, and they had already wrapped up work on The Mystery of the Wax Museum for Warner Brothers. This was quite a large-scale release, and it would have been a lengthy post-production process, seeing a chance to exploit all the advanced press. Poverty Row Studio, Majestic Pictures Inc. contracted Wray and Atwill for their own quickie horror film, rushing the vampire bat into production and releasing it in January 1933. So this is a Poverty Row movie. It's got that feel. It's got that low budget feel. And I'm not at all surprised that it fell into public domain. Majestic Pictures had lower overheads than the larger studios, which were struggling at the time during the Great Depression. Part of the reason that the Vampire Bat looked almost as good as any Universal Pictures horror film is because Majestic leased James Whale's cast-offs, the German Village backlot sets left over from Frankenstein, 1931, and the interior sets from his film, The Old Dark House. 1932, plus some location shooting at Bronson Caves. Why are low-budget movies always have shooting at Bronson Caves, completing the illusion that this was a film from a much bigger studio? Majestic hired actor Dwight Frye to populate scenes with Wray and Atwill. A stock musical theme by Charles Dunworth, Stealthy Footsteps, was used to accompany the opening credits. The Vampire Bat ruse worked for Majestic, which was able to rush the quickie film into theaters less than a month before Warner's release of Mystery of the Wax Museum. According to the Film Daily, January 10th, 1933, the film's running time was 63 minutes, like most extant prints. And I think that's the running time on cult cinema classics also. So finally, I found a movie that has the correct running time listed on there. Sometimes I'll be looking at the running time, I'm thinking, how did they come up with this? Because it's the same as some other YouTube movies that I've come across. The Vampire Bat has the great movie poster on there. 1933, 1 hour, 5 minutes, according to IMDb. They're playing with this. Wikipedia says 1 hour, 3 minutes, and this one says 1 hour, 5 minutes. Or is it 1 hour, 6 minutes? I don't know. Yeah, it's 1 hour, 3 minutes, according to Wikipedia. According to IMDb, it's 1 hour, 5 minutes. Anyways, it's a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 3,200 ratings. So it's not popular or terribly well known, I guess. It's just out there for any gothic horror fanatics who want to watch it. When corpses drained of blood begin to show up in European village, vampirism is suspected to be responsible. Okay, more like this. Dr. X, Murders in the Zoo, The Devil Bat, and White Zombie. I'm going to have to look up Murders in the Zoo after I'm done with this. To keep production costs down, low-budget studio Majestic Pictures filmed at night on Universal's European Village set, which was used for Frankenstein 1931. The interior of Lionel Atwill's house is a set from The Old Dark House. Another great flick. 1932. Spanish dub version. In the original version, When Herman encounters Aunt Gussie, he hides behind a bush and he does a meow, which draws Aunt Gussie to the bushes looking for the cat. In the Spanish dub version, they neglected to put in the word meow, so there is no motivation for Aunt Gussie to go to the bushes. Carl Brettschneider I don't mind admitting that I'm up a tree stumped. When originally released theatrically in the UK, the BBFC made cuts to secure an A rating. All cuts were waived in 1993 when the film was granted a PG certificate for home video. This was edited into Haunted Hollywood, The Vampire Bat 2016. The soundtracks are Stealthy Footsteps, music by Charles Dunworth. We're talking about the main title music here. All right. Here's a much higher review from Norm Vogel at Verizon.net, dated July 23rd, 2004. Norm Vogel gives it an 8 out of 10. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. And the title of the IMDb review from Norm Vogel is a very underrated film. I take issue with the other reviewers' comments for the simple reason that this is a mystery film, not a supernatural one. It's not the only film to have a seemingly supernatural explanation, vampires, but it turns out to be a very mundane one. Other films that come to mind are Edgar Wallace's Before Dawn and the more famous Mark of the Vampire. The film does a wonderful job in creating a very spooky atmosphere, similar Dracula when Renfield meets the Count on the staircase of his castle, or in Mark of the Vampire when the two people look through the windows of the castle ruins and they see a corpse playing an organ while Luna descends using wings. Very surreal. If you like these often silent atmospheric touches, this film is a must. From Norm Vogel. So there's somebody who liked it more than I did. Adrian just entered the chat room. He said he didn't mind this one. The Old Dark House I still have to watch. Okay. The Old Dark House is way better than this. This is just a low-budget, poverty row horror flick that's occasionally funny, at times amusing, but a lot of times boring and to the point where I just want to do something else besides watch it. But thanks for the recommendation anyway. I'm glad he didn't mind it. I was going to say Adrian probably liked this better than I did. Give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was all right. Not a great horror flick, but it does have a great cast. And it does have its moments from time to time. All right. So going down the list, we've got Cobra 1986, Dial M for Murder 1954. It's number 2 on my list. And then number 3 is Radioactive Dreams 1985 with George Kennedy. The Old Dark House on Tubi. I think I watched The Old Dark House on Netflix, but Netflix doesn't send DVDs anymore. Let's see. Another pre-code horror film. Let's see what it says here. Come on. Yeah. You can watch it on YouTube. It's free. I'll send you the link. And it's got the same actor from the Devil Bat. Come on. Scroll down. There we go. Thank you. So we click on share and then copy link. Why is this taking so long? Why is it spinning around? I'm trying to get this link to Adrian. Oh, I'll just do a copy and paste here. There we go. There. Finally. I don't know why my computer's so slow tonight. Anyways, I sent the link to Adrian for The Old Dark House. Great horror flick, 1932. Gothic horror. We love this kind of stuff on this channel. This movie is kind of boring for the most part. But like I said, it does have its moments. It's not completely bad. It's neither good nor bad. It's sort of in the middle, in my opinion. Adrian didn't mind it. So he didn't exactly recommend it to me. He said, oh, by the way, I'm watching The Vampire Bat while I was watching 3 other films. This was a couple years ago, I guess. It's been a while since Karate Man and Adrian were taking their turns mentioning movies. They were competing with each other at this time to make recommendations and movie mentions. All right. So I've got a pretty relaxed day tomorrow. I have to take my car in for maintenance, but I can watch Cobra while I'm taking my car in. And then I've got pretty much the entire rest of the day to watch Dial M for Murder and possibly Radioactive Dreams. And Monday, I have the day off. It's a paid holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. I'll try to get in Tango and Cash, 1989, Grizzly, 1976, and Black Sheep, 2006. So there you have it. Yeah, of course, Karate Man recommended Cobra. That's the movie poster from Rambo Raff for Life channel. That guy, Rambo Raff for Life, uses the Cobra movie poster in the background for all his videos. Every single one of them. Black Sheep, 2006. Yeah, I'm not talking about the Chris Farley movie. I'm not talking about the 1996 movie with Chris Farley. I'm talking about the 2006 movie. Is that another Adrian recommendation? Some kind of New Zealand movie. There are 40 million sheep in New Zealand, and they're pissed off. This is a very popular movie. 43,000 ratings on IMDb. This ought to be good. All right. So I'm going to look up one movie here based on the Vampire Bat, More Like This. On IMDb, More Like This includes, but not limited to, Murders in the Zoo, another Lionel Atwill flick from Paramount, Murders in the Zoo. I'm going to see if I can find that one. Laters.